You're live.
Hey everybody, Simon Dixon here. I woke up this morning with a real overwhelming sense of guilt. And I went live on Twitter, and I now have to go live on YouTube to share my experience this morning. So when I woke up this morning, it really felt bad because I really didn't feel that I'm doing my part for the economy and to try and get the economic growth that we need in order to get out of the Great Depression of the 2020s. So I'm making an announcement today that I've made the decision after over a decade of being involved in the Bitcoin industry that it's time to sell all my Bitcoin. And the reason that I'm doing that is because the government and central banks all around the world are working as hard as they possibly can in order to drive us into an economic recovery. And the mechanism that they need in order for us to recover and to try and get back to normality is that we all stop saving. They want to make sure that we are not saving. And I think it's our duty as patriots to both our countries and the global economy as a whole to really take all of our savings and make sure that we take it out of hard sound money, because the problem with hard sound money is that it makes the individual wealthier. And when the individual gets wealthier, we're not spending that money at the rate that the government needs us to spend at the moment. And so by selling all of my Bitcoin and converting it into fiat currency, I can then do my duty as a patriot and make sure that I'm serving both my country and the whole world as a whole by taking that money, putting it in a bank and allowing the bank to lever it up and spend it for me. We need them to use it in order to issue more mortgages so that more and more people can get out of savings and deeper into debt. And me, as my duty, is to stop saving and to take on as much debt as I possibly can for the good of the country and the world. And so officially, I'm taking all of that money, putting it in a bank so that it can be levered up and so that it can decrease in value over time. And so it can be diluted away because my duty as an individual is to help and support this economic recovery. What I'm also going to be doing is making sure that I take on as much debt as I possibly can and consuming it for the greater good of the economy. Now, I'm not going to be borrowing in order to invest in a business because it would be a huge waste of time, and we need to be as productive as we can in today's environment. If I were to borrow and try and get a loan for my business so that I could create some jobs at the moment, the bank would just simply say no and reject the application, and it would just be a huge waste of time. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm telling them that I'm going to redecorate my house, and I'm going to buy some new sneakers and trainers, and I'm going to buy a new car, and I'm going to consume as much as I can. I'm going to buy a new TV so that the loan and credit card get accepted, because it would just be such a waste of time to try and do something productive with that money that they need me to take on as much debt as I possibly can and spend it. So it's official. I'm going to be selling all of my Bitcoin, putting it into a bank. They're going to lever it up, and they're going to get as many people into debt as possible so that we can recover this economy. I'm doing my part as well. And as a responsible citizen, I'm going to make sure that I get rid of as many savings as possible. And I'm going to leverage all those deposits so that I can take on as much debt and consume as much as I possibly can. I'm also starting a new initiative today. And that initiative is to lobby both the government and the central banks to continue getting as many people in debt as possible through perpetuating the debt-based Ponzi scheme. The debt-based Ponzi scheme is our only way to get out and to drive recovery. So it's official. Governments are now offering guarantees on approximately 95% loan to value on mortgages. And we need to encourage this and try and lobby them to get it to 100%. We want to be able to take on as many mortgages as possible because we need the rich to get richer. We need those that have assets to get wealthier. We need to make sure that our central bank is doing its part and driving the rich-poor divide as far as they could possibly take it. We need to make sure that they are issuing as much digital money as possible and making sure that it gets to the largest corporations in the world and make sure that it's used in order to perpetuate and prop up the prices of our assets and property. So this is my appeal to the government and the central banks to make sure that you implement as many things as possible to get as many people in debt as possible, because we need to create as much money as possible as debt as we possibly can. And so this is my pledge to you and my allegiance that I will sell all my Bitcoin, put it in the bank, lever it up as much as possible, take on as much as possible, and do my duty to make sure that as many people take on as much debt as possible. And please, I encourage you to please go into negative interest rates. I need you to make it easy for me, for my savings to be depleted away as much as possible. I need to make it easier for me to make the decision to take on as much debt as possible, because we need the banks to receive as much interest as possible and so that they can create money as debt. And I'm also lobbying to the banks to make sure that when you take on those bad loans, please do not let them go bust. Those bad loans, if money disappears from the economy, then we're going to be in a real trouble. So the way you need to do that is make sure that you sell it to my pension, so that my pension can take the exposure, so that you as a bank don't end up destroying the money supply. The government will guarantee it. They'll bail you out, so don't worry. And we need to do as much as possible. And so that is exactly what I'm going to be doing from here. And although I can't give you financial advice, I think that today is April the 1st, and it is April Fool's. And I've decided that although I can't give financial advice, please do not do the same as what I am stating, because I won't be selling any of my Bitcoin, and I will be looking after the micro rather than trying to perpetuate the debt-based Ponzi scheme and give people, as many people as possible, the opportunity to reverse the trends of being able to not own their own money, not spend their own money, and have a money supply that's fixed and encourage and rewards the saver. So you all have a choice on this April Fool's Day. You can either play and perpetuate the debt-based Ponzi scheme, or you can enter into a different side. Sorry for this, my dry sense of humor as a British person, but it's April Fool's Day. Enjoy the rest of your day. I wanted to do this emergency special broadcast, and just to be crystal clear, I won't be selling my Bitcoin. I will be looking to drive savings as much as possible, drive wealth effects so that we can invest in productive businesses. And the more that we invest, we can get a recovery based upon sound, fundamental principles rather than perpetuating the debt-based Ponzi scheme. Enjoy your month, and I'll see you on the other side. Remember, you are alive at one of the most interesting and exciting times in financial history, and I want to make sure you're on the right side of this change. Happy April Fools.